sport fans watching around the world, this is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Let's get straight into the episode.
Yeah, we heading for the sun. Shawty got my high, I ain't tripping for the funds. Yeah, I won't start, I ain't tripping, I'm a stun.
Before we start, I'll say something to you that I say to everyone that comes on, but I would not be saying it if it wasn't true. You're sitting here because I find you interesting. That's because you are an interesting person. I want to learn more about you, how you think, and how you feel. And I love that I have the opportunity to share this experience. So I really appreciate you coming over. Thank you for sitting down. And ladies and gentlemen listening, my guest today is my oldest friend. I have so many fond memories with him, and it's been a long time coming. I've missed him. I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to not just teach everyone else about him, but learn more about his recent life myself, because it's been a long time. And I'm very, very grateful for this moment. And for those who don't know him yet, this is Lachlan Humphries.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for having me. It's been a while.
Been a minute.
Been a hot
minute.
Mate.
All
Absolutely.
right. Now we can relax. All right. Whatever comes out after this.
I can fucking take it easy now.
Yeah.
Hey.
Whatever comes out after this is easy. Now I got to make sure everything's on. I did a podcast once. My first time meeting someone. You get for everyone listening, they've already heard this story, but I'll tell you. So it was a guy that I reached out to off TikTok that I was loving his videos.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, do you want to come do a podcast? It was an episode like, I don't know, 15 or something early. He's like, yeah, all right, I'll come. I'd love to come meet you. I was like, yeah, sweet. So I'm fucking nervous, bro. First, I feel like a celebrity kind of, you know what I mean? Like he's a legend. His name's Moe Duwari. I got along with him real well, but it was my first time doing something like that. So I'm like, yeah, I got this. Thought of everything, planned everything. Yep, good. He comes on. We record the whole podcast, and then I go, fuck, the cameras aren't on.
Oh, yeah. I was actually going to ask you, like, if you had a scenario where you've done a whole episode, mics weren't working, camera's not on or something to that extent.
Multiple times.
Oh, righto, mate. Let's go word for word this fucking podcast back again.
Yeah. Oh, bro, he's a legend. He came over again, I want to say like a month later. I did a few more episodes and then he came back on and we got to do it again. It wasn't the same, but it was good. It was still good. It was still good. All right, Lockie, I don't know where I want to start, although I always forget the first question I like to ask people is, how do you feel right now in this current moment? Any nerves, hunger, tired?
I'm full, man.
Yeah.
Those listening, we just chowed down massive KFC feed, Macca's, fucking ice cream, thick shake and all that. Yeah. So
a standard Doxy experience, bro. Just eating way too much food.
Yeah, so I'm pretty good. Yeah, I'm fed.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Nerves?
I'm happy.
No,
Not really, man.
Nice.
I don't know, just having a chat. I've always wanted to do a podcast, yes, too, so I'm really more excited as opposed to nervous.
Nice. Excited. Good feeling.
Yeah.
So I think I would like to let everyone else know that you do locksmith by trade so far, and you're in your third year.
Yeah, so third year in locksmithing. So I've got 1 year left of TAFE.
Nice.
After that, tradesman. Yeah. So,
nice.
Which is good. It's been a bit of a fucking slog, to be fair, being apprentice and stuff, but I'm glad I stuck with it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a really interesting trade in a sense, yeah.
But how did you get, to be honest, why and how did you find yourself doing that? Because it's not a trade that most people look at doing. I never thought of it until I found out you were doing it.
Neither. Growing up, I think I knew of a locksmith. I didn't know what they did.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bit of a fucking long and convoluted story, but pretty well, it was just moved to Newcastle for uni, right? For finished year 12, had my gap year and thought, yep, uni, let's do this. And I was living, so I moved up and lived on campus at the university, at Evatt House. Anyway, then, the COVID and everything happened. Had to move back to Dubbo, back home, and went uni. Not for me, because it went online.
Yeah.
Fuck, uni online.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
I'm gonna constantly pause while you're telling your story because I want more information myself. But what did you go to uni to study in the first place?
Yeah, so
what was the course?
Yeah, so I ended up choosing funnily enough, Bachelor of Communications, which is comms and media, because I wanted to do radio, podcasting and stuff that. But I had a couple offers. One of them was for science, something science related as well. But I ended up going that communications path, and I don't know, it just wasn't what I thought it was was going to be, and yeah, and then moving back home as well with COVID and stuff, it just was like nah. And I was a bit undecided as well. Like I did that because I was like, that's just an option I have to do. I wasn't necessarily. It wasn't a very like educated decision. It was more just like, oh fuck it.
Yeah, incisive.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Yeah, I want to move away, and this is a good excuse, so to speak. But yeah. So after that, then obviously uni and everything opened back up, and all my mates were moving up to Newcastle again, and I was like, fuck, well, I don't really want to be stuck here. So then I just got in touch with one of my mates, and him and a few people were looking for a place. So I said, hey, can I jump in on that? And moved up, and I worked at a bar for a year. And then after that, I started cabinet making apprenticeship, right? So I did about a year of that, and went like, fuck, not for me, not for me.
What was not for you about it? What was not for you about it?
I don't know, man. It was like, just wasn't my interest, dude. Like cabinet making, you're knocking up white boxes. Like, it's like, it's not even, it is carpentry, joinery. It's kind of like that, but there was just a lot of knocking up the boxes and stuff, and it wasn't necessarily something I was overly interested in. And there's a lot of attention to detail. It's a finishing trade, right? So everything's going to be perfect and neat. I tend to not be that perfect in a sense and stuff, and it was just, I was like, nah. Yeah. It's too much. Yeah. And I wasn't interested in it, and so I quit that, and because Dad, he's into the security industry, right? So he does, alarms, CCTV and everything like that, and I was having a yarn to him, and he was like, oh, well, why don't you, try that field out? And I was like, yeah, rightio. And anyway, he got in touch with a couple reps or something from his work, and one of them said that the company I'm working at now could be looking for an apprentice, right? And I went, oh yeah, sweet. And so I went and had a chat, and they do locksmithing and security, and so the way they put it was like, rightio, like obviously you want to do security, but you don't necessarily need a trade per se to do that. Like you'll probably need your cabling license. But it's no kind of formally recognised training. You can do stuff like comms and data, IT, networking definitely helps, but it's not like a prerequisite. So they said, because of that, what we'll do is put you through as a locksmith apprentice. So you get that trade, then you also can do security and everything like that as well.
Yeah, nice.
So I went, oh, yep, beauty, happy days, sounds good. And then, so I did my last, gave the cabinet making place 2 weeks worth of notice. And it was like the day before I started. I was like, fuck, man, what does a locksmith do, eh? I was like, what am I actually signing myself up for here? Like, I actually have no idea. Like, sure, it's locks and keys, but like, what the fuck? You know? Weird.
All I think of, bro, is learning how to pick a lock. Like, to be honest, who knows? Yeah. Yeah,
it's even I don't know. It's really hard to, I guess, explain to people, but like, I think of it as access control, right, in a sense, and it's not a necessary, like a big part of locksmithing is obviously security, but I think the biggest part other than that is just access control. Who do you allow into this room, or which group of people in your business have access to these places, doors, etc.? Who doesn't? Yeah. And so a lot of the time it's, you do master keying, right? So, you've obviously heard of the master key, the key that unlocks all the doors. Yeah. And you might have your apartment key that, say, does the front door, your door, and, say, like the bin room. Mm-hmm. But you can't get into your neighbour's place, right, so to speak. So a lot of that master keying is a big one. And same with commercial stuff. You're the boss. You want to get everywhere. Your manager can get up to all the doors on level 1 but can't go to level 2. Cleaners can, get into, say, all the floors, but they can't get into the storerooms. So there's heaps of that. But even just, electric strikes, badging stuff in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a trade that's actually kind of like there's so many aspects of different other trades that come into this. That's why I love it so much, is because every day is different. Like if we're cutting in locks into timber and stuff for some really fancy locks, it's like carpentry. You got to get chisels out, hammer, measuring things up, really fine cuts, detailed work, and I like that. But other days, if you're doing security, mate, you're running cable.
Yeah,
You're like splicing cable. You're doing shit like conduit work in ceilings, fucking pulling cables through trenches, like that aspect of it as well. And then you've got safes.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ballpark again. And then you've got, just general locksmithing as well, engineering, manufacturing, like the fabrication side of it, and just even locksmithing theory as well. Just if you're looking at how a key, if you're seeing those videos of the clear padlock,
Yeah.
you put the key in and you can see how the mechanism, so it's
just the different pins that go up and down
correct,
based on the size of it.
the cuts in the key.
Yeah.
So, there's so much you can do. And even if, you don't necessarily want to get on the tools, as I was saying with master keying, it's all coding. It's all number based. There's software where it has all these predetermined rules and stuff. And, someone gives you a criteria of, hey, these is, I've got 50 staff. I want these 10 to be able to go here, but not here, but this bloke can go there, blah, blah, blah. And you have to code that system, right?
Yeah.
It's really theoretical in a sense.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily even have to be a locksmith on the tools. You can just be completely doing master keying systems, which some locksmiths do. They just go stuff it, and they might look after 5 different apartment buildings in the city, or heaps of commercial sites, and that's all they do.
Yeah, mad.
Really interesting stuff.
That is interesting. Well, my mate Damo, he does. I would consider it to be the same job. So he's Sparky by trade, who does security, and he would run security cameras and communication and all that kind of stuff for that.
Yeah.
But then now he's also doing the same thing where he's got like this board that kind of looks similar to my board here, but a lot more wiry and electrical.
Yeah.
It's all exposed, I guess. It's more like a training board, the one he was showing me. And he gets a card, and he has to use the same thing you were saying, like a computer program to
access
say
control.
Access control, yeah.
That's it. That's like what locksmithing's turning into. Instead of physical key, it's all programmable cards.
Yeah.
Cloud-based as well, so you can access it from home and say,
And adjust
oh
it.
shit, I've just sacked this bloke. I don't want his card to work and get into the building, connect up to the cloud, blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
His card's gone.
Wow.
He can't get in. It's the exact same thing.
That's crazy. It's actually a crazy trade, to be honest. I honestly thought your job was just to do with locks, like say getting into a house or getting into a car. Like, that's about as far as I thought it would go.
Yeah, no, it's I definitely that is part of it, 100%, but it's not all of it, and it's definitely, but it is a very and that's the problem too. It's not an exposed trade. Like, if you think, it's like, for example, in New South Wales and Canberra, the only place that you can do locksmithing is at Ultimo TAFE.
Yeah.
And so when I was in my first year and started, there was maybe 2 or 3 classes. So probably about 40 people in all of New South Wales, and Canberra for that year were first year locksmith's apprentice. 40.
Yeah, wow.
You think of how many Sparkies, plumbers and chippies there are, thousands, if not tens of thousands.
Yeah, I'd say 10,000 chippies.
Yeah, so when you've only got 40 blokes out of all of New South Wales, Canberra.
Yeah.
It's not many people doing it. It's very niche.
Yeah. That's a good thing to have too, a niche trade. It's like fridgies. When I went to TAFE, I think we probably had, just in my TAFE, but mind you, there was probably 5 TAFEs around as far as Sydney, Canberra type spec.
Yeah.
And we had probably 5 days out of the week, 4 days of TAFE for first years, and then
Did you do block release?
No, I did weekly.
Weekly, yep.
And then we had, so there might have been 2 classes operating on a Monday, 2 on a Tuesday, 2 on a Wednesday.
Yeah, I get you.
Operating at the same time, even 3 in the beginning, possibly.
Yeah.
But the whole time I was there, I was the only guy I knew that worked at a refrigeration company. Everyone else was there doing air conditioning. So it's the same kind of trade, air conditioning and refrigeration, because it works the same.
Yeah.
It's the same mechanical system inside it and electrical system, but it's 2 completely different markets. Domestic air cons, commercial air cons, and then refrigeration, because it's all different parts and materials and things.
Yeah, of course.
But it's the same kind of thing where it's like, I realized pretty young, like, there ain't many of me. Like, I'm in a good position, you know what I mean? Like, by the time you get to senior tradesman, like, And to be honest, there's less and less apprentices joining trades every single year.
Yeah. Oh,
So
don't get me started.
Bro,
about
imagine by
that.
the time we're 30, 35,
Yeah.
we'll be like the last of a race of
Yeah.
humans.
Yeah, with good thing with locksmithing though is it's picking up. I think
Okay.
this like next year or maybe next year there's gonna be maybe fucking 60 odd first years. It's not much, but still there's a bit of growth there. But it's one of those things where it's like good to see the industry grow, but it's like you don't want to grow too much because then you're not as like sought after.
Yeah.
Like for me, for example, if I went, oh fuck it, I wanna move to Perth.
Yeah.
You just ring up a couple companies. Yeah, mate, come.
Yeah.
Like, please, we need you type thing. Like every locksmith company is looking for locksmith. There's like, you're never going to just turn one away. It's so hard to come by. So
That's so good, bro. It's so lucky. You picked actually a smart trade.
yeah. Exactly. And it's like good money too, especially in terms of after hours. Like I know a lot of people probably when you lock your keys inside, you need a locksmith to come and get out, and you're like, fuck me, like $300. Well, it depends where you are, but like 250, 260 for you to come. Like that's fucked. And I can get that, but man, when you're on call and it's fucking 11 o'clock like, on a Sunday night, like I don't want to get up for anything less type thing. And and understandably as well, like at the end of the day, mate, you fucking locked yourself out.
Yeah. Well, mate,
if you didn't want to pay the money, don't do it.
Yeah. Supply and demand, bro. Don't ever feel guilty for supply and demand.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the same. I think of my trade in a way where it's like, to be honest, I don't want to come do your aircon. How much do you want me to come do your aircon?
Yeah.
That's how I think of it. It's the same thing as being on call. On call, it's like if you want me to rock up at 2 o'clock in the morning to fix this thing, it's going to cost you because I'm pretty comfortable. You know what I mean? Do you think I'm just itching to get out of bed? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
and the way I think of it too is like if people are doing, say, like a normal 9 to 5 day, how do you feel? Imagine if the boss goes, oh, mate, fucking, can you just come in at 8 o'clock tonight and do 2 hours?
Yeah.
Thinking, fuck that, you got to pay me. It's the same thing with me. I don't want to have to. I've just busted my ass all day.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to do is like, I'd love to travel fucking 45 minutes to help you out, mate. Like,
I just ordered my dinner, you know what I mean? Like I've had a shower, put me comfortable shows on. Uber Eats is on the way, and like I'm gonna come do it for $100. You know?
It's the worst. It always happens for me too. Like, big day or whatever. You know, you might sit down just for 30 minutes, unwind. Right, have a shower. You just chuck your steak on the fry pan. Phone call.
Yeah. I've dealt with it for years, dude. I did service for fucking years. 4 years I probably did service, like especially being on my own doing it, being on call and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's like you just have to end up getting a missus that understands. Like I'm not there for weekends. I'm not there for this. I'm present, but I'm not there alone. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going.
Yeah.
You can't make freaking dinner dates. You can't. You know.
Yeah.
Your girlfriend's parents invite you over for dinner. It's like, well, I might have to leave. You know.
Yeah.
But it's extremely valuable, bro. And I tell this to everyone, which I don't need to tell you because you understand it too. There's a big difference between a job and a career, and you picked a career.
Yeah, and then one thing about the job too, like saying career and stuff, is like, I like my job. Like, it's a fucking privilege for me to like what I do. You know, like a lot of people will say, "Oh, don't follow your passions because it turns into work, and you won't like them." But for me, it was kind of like my work turned into a passion.
Yeah,
you know, I didn't start locksmithing because I'm like, fuck yeah, I love locks, man. I just fell into it, and I turned out like, oh hey, this is actually pretty interesting. I like doing it, and that's a privilege, don't you think? Like
dude, 100%.
To say that you like a job, like a lot of people, you know, have
most
jobs
people,
most people they don't like what they do. Not that they maybe don't like it, but it's just a job, man.
Yeah.
But for me, at least, it's no, this is interesting. It's good, and I reflect on that and be like that. That's privilege, man.
Yeah.
Like you know, not everyone has that. That's so, and I think if you look at it that way as well, makes it more not bearable, but it just makes it worthwhile. You know, if you have a shit day, it's just a shit day, man. It's you still like what you do, type.
Yeah.
Thing, you know?
Nah, it's a mad mindset, dude. Gratefulness is something I'm always preaching as well. Like I'm grateful to go to work every night. To be honest, I enjoy working hard. I do enjoy it, but if I'm going to be real, like if you had the option of just having $100 million right now and not going to work, you would choose that. Doesn't matter how much you enjoy your job.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're in the situation you're in where you have to work, privilege is a perfect word, bro. It's a privilege to enjoy what you do, bro. Because most people I know, can't be fucked. They're just miserable 9 to 5 every day.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I couldn't do it, bro. I couldn't work like that. I couldn't.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's weird because like you didn't start off liking it. It was the same as me. You started off doing it because you kind of needed something to do.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until you started to understand it and get better at it that rippled the effect of like, oh, I'm enjoying this. You're enjoying it because you're good at it. Because you're good at it, you want to get better at it.
It's almost a challenge, isn't it?
100%. Every day is a challenge, bro. Like it's my goal in my trade to be the best. I want it to be the number one. I don't want any airiness about it. I want everyone to know I'm the best. You know, it's going to take a while. It's going to take a long time, but that's my goal for the future. And that's what keeps me going. It's the challenge. It's like getting to work. What's the fastest way I can do this? Who's the best person to learn off? You know, what did I do wrong last time that I can improve on? And then when you come across something you don't understand, it's like, yes, now I can figure this out.
Yeah, and that's a good thing too. Like like what you said, challenging and efficiently. Like doing stuff efficiently is, I get a bit of a kick out of that. Is like stupid as it sounds, but when you're like, fuck, right, how am I going to attack this?
Yeah.
Like, yep. No, that makes sense. That's good. It is a challenge. I agree. You know, I'll get to a site and it's a big job. Got like 100 doors to do. Like, righto, how am I doing this? Like, what's the plan? I've done something similar before. See if I can do this like faster. I'll look at, I've been quoted, 18 hours on this job. Let's try and get it done in fucking 14.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
that type of vibe, you know?
So yeah, it's also time management was another good skill to have as a tradesman too. You learn a lot you learn like physically, cognitively, you learn literally, like theoretically. But I think the most important things that I learned, especially going through my apprenticeship, becoming a tradesman, is time management. Yeah. You learn how to prioritize some things over other things. What's the most important thing to get done? What do other people think is the most important thing to get done? So I can focus on that to keep other people happy. Yeah. But I know where to invest some more time to help me out for the following day. All that kind of thing. Time management, because I use it in my everyday life since learning it at work. The next thing that I learned really well that comes from doing a trade is people management. Oh, bro, yeah. Having an apprentice, dealing with tradesmen you don't like, working alongside someone with a similar experience, and trying to keep a healthy relationship at work that's professional and enjoyable. Yeah. Especially once you get to the stage where you have apprentices as well. People management is such an important skill, bro. Yeah. Such an important skill.
Or even just like
customers.
Yeah,
I missed that big one.
Having the balls to not tell someone to get fucked, but like, tell someone that's not right, mate. Or when they accuse you of something, no. Yeah. And a lot of people say, oh yeah, the customer, mate. What's the saying? Where
customer's always right.
The customer's always right. Yeah. Dad says a good one, mate. The customer's always the customer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not their right. They're not fucking right. And I found that too with people because, especially when I started doing it, man, I got sent out on the road 6 months through my apprenticeship. They just chucked me in the deep end. I had to, right? Because we had a bloke who left. Mate, you got a van to fill. What do? You can't find locksmith. And I had to do that. And my biggest thing was, because I wasn't that experienced in the trade, having to deal with people, when you're trying to diagnose problems or faults that you're not sure of yourself, and then they're a bit suspicious of you, and you kind of have to try and tell people what's up and not bullshit your way through, but you've got to deal with these people, right? And there'll be times when they call you out, or there'll be times when they've had enough of you, or they ring up the boss and sook and complain. But now it's good. I think the whole thing with our trade and stuff, it's just problem solving in a very vague sense of, as you were saying with time management, well, you're problem solving, aren't you? Fuck, I've got X amount of time. I need to work out how to do this, or with people that,
Yeah. Like, navigating customers, that's a good one, bro.
Yeah, customers, man. That. But do you ever find as well, like, you're almost surprised by how, like, stupid some people are?
My favorite quote about that is common sense. It ain't that common.
Common, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, here's one for you. I had a lockout once. Like, so this guy locked himself out of his bedroom. Like, I don't know why you have a key lock on your bedroom for starters, but anyway, he locked himself out of it. And anyway, he tried to get in. Like, he's like trying to fucking break the lock off, and I don't know. He fucked this thing up. I rocked up and went, oh, like, because when a lock's like that, it makes my job 10 times harder. Because you can't, like, you have to try and enter in a way that doesn't damage the door, the frame and stuff. And I was looking at this thing like, mate, where's your key? Oh, like, don't have one. Like, oh, like, I've tried to break the thing off. I've done this. You know, look, it's locked. I can't get in. And I'm thinking like, hey, righto. And I walked up to it and I opened the door.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, whoa, how'd you do that? I turned the knob, mate. And what I worked out was I turned it clockwise, the knob, to open it. He was trying to turn it anti-clockwise.
Oh my God.
Like, and then you have to say, all right, mate.
Time to pay, yeah.
It's $260.
Yeah.
Well, but you didn't do anything. Mate, it doesn't matter if I fucking come here and did the maddest job or if I just did that. You're paying for me to be here, not for what I do, so to speak. So that's another thing with customers, you know, is when it's a 2-second fix, but we're only here for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And you have to staunch up.
Yeah.
No, mate.
Yeah.
It's a service call.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. You got to kind of swallow that fear and tell them, mate, you need to pay me.
Yeah. Like, my old boss, he put us in the deep end too as an apprentice, probably a second year when I started up there. And again, I don't know if I was 18 yet at the time, you know, so I had to learn how to just, you know, put your foot down, be all nice to the customer and stuff, and as soon as push comes to shove, just put your foot down.
Don't be a pushover.
Don't be a pushover. And like, we weren't allowed to leave until we got paid. You know?
Same.
So it's like, you're like, dude, I'll wait here all day. You know, I don't care. Oh, mate, I'll pay tomorrow. Can I pay that? Nah. Has to get paid now.
Yeah.
And there's been incidences where I've just rocked up. Oh, mate, this fridge ain't working. No worries. Look at the PowerPoint. Flick the flick on.
Fuck, eh?
And it's like, sorry, dude, but you know what I mean? I came out here on a freaking Thursday afternoon, so that'll be $250 as well. It's the same kind of price. Service calls are always service calls. It's kind of the same for every trade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do not miss that. I don't do any service calls anymore. I don't deal with customers anymore. Yeah. The only thing I have to deal with is a builder.
Commercial work, man. Yeah. It's so much better. I do not like residential that much. It's just
different games, but we have so much. You have to keep the builder happy 24/7. Yeah,
true.
He's watching you like a hawk. Whereas you go to residential or a light commercial type job where you kind of have the freedom to just kind of do whatever. There's no need even for safety gloves, safety glasses, hard hats, even a uniform. If you don't wear a uniform, no one's going to know.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah.
You're just there to do your job. Yeah, so customers, bro, that's a good one to learn because you kind of use it in your day-to-day life too. Yeah. You know what I mean? You learn how to get respect from older people, how to not get disrespect from younger people. You learn one thing that I've learned the most lately I've been thinking about is there's a big difference between authority and disrespect. And that's one thing I've definitely learned, 100%. Which I never really got at being a kid. And I can see why some people struggle to go through trades because they don't understand that the person that's giving them information has authority.
Yeah. They're not disrespecting them by saying things. They just have the authority to tell you.
But then there's a difference between disrespect.
Correct.
And you have to learn when someone's being disrespectful. Same with customers too.
Yeah.
The customer's always right. I do understand that quote. It is true. But it doesn't mean the customer's allowed to be disrespectful because no one has the right to be disrespectful.
No, correct.
Yeah. I've had a million examples of that. I remember going and doing a pizza shop. I'll just say that, but it was a franchise.
Undisclosed pizza shop.
Yeah, it was a pizza shop, a well-known franchise.
Yeah.
And it was more like a cabin or a hut or something.
Some kind of building.
Some kind of building. And
pizza cabin.
teepee, pizza teepee. I think it was. So the customer's like, I'm just working away. Say for example, I was changing these fans in there, And I'm going through, cutting all the old fans out, putting the new ones in, running the cable, cutting them, and then barrel connecting and heat shrinking these new cable connections.
Yeah.
And he's saying, "What are you doing?" This Indian guy, "What do you think you're doing?" And I've dealt with this before, so I'm just fixing the fridge, dude, like he asked me to do. He's like, "But why you cut the cable?" I was like, "Well, I'm putting the new fans in, dude, and there's no way to disconnect it from where it's got to go." And he's like, "You cannot do that." And at this point, I just put my tools down. I'm like, "What do you mean I cannot do that?"
Yeah,
and he's like, "You cannot cut the cable." I'm like, "What would you know?" Dude, to be honest.
Yeah,
He goes, "Back in my country, I was an electrical engineer. I
Oh.
understand you cannot cut the cable." And I said, "Well, guess what? In my country, you work at pizza shop."
Pizza palace.
I said, "You work at pizza shop.
Yeah.
So how about you do your job and you make the pizzas and I'll do my
Yeah.
job and I'll fix the yeah. But it's cool, bro. When you have them working over your shoulder, the easiest one to do is I just get my phone, turn the torch on, and you just say, "Do you mind just holding this for me for just a
Yeah,
second?"
right.
You know what I mean? And then you can
Yeah.
just both hands free,
True.
and then they're gonna stand there for like 5 minutes, and they're gonna get over it.
Yeah.
And then just be like, "Oh, sorry, mate. Like, do you have anything you need to do?" And if they
Yeah.
say yes, they say, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Do what you gotta do. Yeah.
It's like when you're doing like a gain and like picking a lock or whatever, something they would look at you, you're like under pressure.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
like, fuck. And what happens, because like when you're doing like picking locks for say your hand picks and stuff, it's like little small pieces, and I'm just a little bit clumsy sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll have it there and it'll get jammed, I'll drop it. But when they're watching me, man, I'm like, fuck. And I'm dropping, oh, fucking hell. And,
Yeah.
you know, and it's one thing, like, you,
It's when you got to do the dance of like, "Oh, sorry, man."
oh,
Like,
you're fucking,
clumsy,
oh,
aren't I?
yeah. And then it's like if anyone's doing work, if I'm in a position, say, like, we rent, but if there was like a guy there, had to change something, I'd be stepping away. I'm not going,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah," because
Yeah.
I hate that feeling. You
Yeah.
just don't want, like, even the other day, I had to, like, just get into a safe. And it was like, all I had to do, like, the keypad was fucked, but I just had to, like, rewire the keypad to get power and plug a 9-volt in. So I had to, strip, like, little cables, man.
Yeah.
But the bloke was watching me, and I had my side cutters out, and I've been stripped cables, like it's easy. But when he was watching me, I'd go to strip it, and I'd press it, I'd cut the cable too short, and then I'd fuck up. I'm like, "Oh, this guy's gonna think I'm the biggest noob or something, the biggest amateur."
Yeah.
I swear I can like have a flawless run just by myself, but as soon as someone else is there, mate, that's when it all goes to shit.
Yeah, I love it, bro. I speaking on the fact that if people are there doing work, I'm kind of enjoying now going up and watching someone else work and just being that pest. You know what I mean? It's
true.
like, and then they notice you looking, and you're like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. I mean,
And you kind of give them the look of the face, like, "Why would you do it like that?" I've got no idea what they're doing, bro. They could be laying vinyl, they could be tilers, they could be gyp rockers. It doesn't matter what the trade is.
right.
Painters, and I just look at them like,
yeah,
"What are you doing?" And they tell me, "Oh, this." And they have that look like, "Am I doing something wrong, or do you know a different way to do this?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just watching what you're doing, you know."
Yeah.
And through doing that, now when people do it back to me, I'm kind of just thinking like, "Oh, we're just keeping the world spinning." You know what I mean?
keeping
It's
the
just a
world turning.
game, bro. Like it's like,
Yeah.
so if someone comes here to work, I can't help myself. I just. And I know what's going on inside their head, bro. I
Yeah.
know they're hating it.
Oh, well, I mean, it happens to you. Maybe you got to return the favour now. It's a cycle.
Yeah,
mate.
bro. It's just the way the world turns, bro. You just got to share the uncomfortable feeling sometimes.
Yeah.
So you learn to look at it like that, from that light, and it'll get easier. Just think to yourself, like when he's doing it, like he's just doing his job. You know, he's just playing his part.
To be
being the
fair, I don't
pest.
mind it sometimes because like if they are interested in it, it's kind of, how often you get to see a bloke pick a lock?
Yeah.
So I get it. And
Yeah.
I do like showing people because it's interesting. Like I like it, and I go, "Yeah, mate, come have a look at this."
Yeah.
It's real good too. You acting there like a big cunt. "Oh, mate, this will be easy," and you're done. You get it like in fucking 5 seconds.
Yeah.
You feel like you're so mad.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
That's just a bit lucky, but
Yeah. It's mad. You kind of learn the act of bullshitting and talking your way in. You learn how to like get yourself in and out of any opportunity as well. You can, you especially through doing service, you learn that if you want to be someone, you got to act like that person. And that's one thing that I definitely took a lesson from doing an apprenticeship, where it's like You're not born a certain person. You act the person you want to be until you become that person.
Yeah.
So if you want to be a tradesman, you act like one when you're an apprentice. If you want to be
Yeah.
a senior tech, you act like one when you're an early tradesman.
Yeah, that's what you got
It's
to do.
fucking very cool. Do you reckon that if you've seen any type of lock, like padlock, you reckon you'd be able to open it? How does it work when it comes to picking locks?
Yeah, well, it's all like, admittedly, some locks are way easier than others. Like if you just have your bog standard, like a knob set, like, just a front door, it's just a doorknob, little turn at the back. That's so easy. Like really, that's not secure.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? If you have a bloke that has half an idea, you could probably pick it. But I don't know. Like locks are hard to pick, but once you learn to do it and you practice it and you can do it, then there are just really easy locks to pick, and others are really hard. But sometimes also, it really just depends on the type of lock. Like for example, like a normal key, that's usually what they call inline. So there's pins.
Yeah.
But some keys, like what you'd find, say like on like your window locks, or even like probably on the locks, like cabinet locks on the back of your car or something, they're what they call a wafer lock. Mm-hmm. Really easy. Like I could probably show you how to do that. You could probably do it like within a couple of minutes.
Wow.
But getting back to inline though, like your normal key, that sometimes it's all depends on the code, right? So those pins you saw, like they all correspond to a number from 0 to 9. So if you had like a lock that had a code of like 4, 2, 3, 5, 4, relatively easy because they're all relatively the same height. But if you had a code that was like 0, 7, 6, fucking 2, 8.
Yeah.
8, it's hard.
It's
hard.
Yeah.
Some locks are just harder. If you had two identical locks, but they had a differently keyed.
Yeah.
Different
combination.
One could be really difficult, and the other one could be super easy.
Yeah.
So it just depends.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about the tool that you use to get into it? Like a lock picking tool? Is there a specific tool? Like I can imagine it.
Yeah, there's so you got your hand tools. There's always two components. When you're picking a lock, there's always something you have to apply tension with. So I'm not sure if you've ever seen it, but you always have you have a tool that looks kind of like an Allen key almost. You poke it in, and you can kind of move it to put tension on the cylinder. Like so, you put your key in. And
it's the motion of twisting.
Yeah. So you're just putting a light bit of pressure on the cylinder, and then you've got your pick, and then all your picks come in different variations of picks. So some called wave rakes, where they're more of just like a you're kind of pulling it back. It's like a little, looks like a wavelength thing, and you're just kind of raking it back and hoping that you can get them all to line up. And then some are more specific actual picks where you're picking one pin at a time. And then there's plenty of other gain entry methods as well. Like you got your pick gun, which is like just a spring-loaded gun that has this like pick on it that just like smacks the pins up. So the idea is, if you apply a slight bit of tension and you have this spring-powered thing smacking the pins up, that eventually, just by chance, they'll kind of all line up, and because you've got tension on, it'll twist, turn over, and then there's plenty of other... A drill. Just drill the fucking thing.
Yeah.
But
Do you have to have a license to have any of these picking tools?
Yeah, you have to have your security license.
That's what I was just thinking. Why can't I just go buy myself one of these guns or anything like that?
Well, you can probably get them from like Amazon or something. It's real tricky because let's say if you bought like some lock picking stuff from Amazon and it was in America, customs more than likely will fucking take that.
Yeah.
No way. But if you somehow found lock picks in Australia that you didn't need a security license for, you could probably get them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you had but some even like security suppliers will require you to enter your security license number when purchasing these things, or you might have to be an account customer with a master license for a business. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't know. But there's weird things because you get like training, like lock-picking hobby stuff where they give you the clear padlock and stuff, and that's fine. It's a bit of a grey area type thing.
Yeah.
But
And you could probably use it, I guess, if you wanted to try and get into some of the bigger shit. You could.
yeah,
The training one.
yeah, oh, yeah. That's the same principles and stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't even know. I think it is a bit. I think even as it's like a mad grey area. I think the laws are something like, even if I, with my security license, have my lock picks, like if I'm caught with them and I'm not doing something related to work, it's still an offence,
Okay. Okay.
right? So I only have to have them when I'm, say, at work or doing something work related. If I just had it in my pocket and I was walking down the street and somehow I got patted down and they found them
Yeah.
on me,
Especially if there was a B&E like next door.
yeah, maybe
Yeah.
they'd fucking pick me up for it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but yeah, it's not.
That's fucking interesting, bro. Do you reckon? What about like getting into one of those master type keys? Like, say for example, when you're in school, and the teacher has that one key that goes and opens every classroom,
Yeah.
or the key to the PE room, or
Yeah.
sports shed, or whatever, things like that. Do you reckon you'd be able to get into that if you had your tools?
Easier.
Yeah.
Easier,
Wow.
right? Master keying, well, when master keying, yeah, it is easier technically because the way master keying works, it's hard to, it's really complicated, but because there's like more pins, for example. So when there's more pins in the lock, there's more kind of combinations they can line up. So therefore, it's kind of easy to pick. But then the way they kind of counteract that is if you look down, like if you had a padlock and you look down where you're putting the key, you notice how it's like a bit of a shape, right?
Yeah.
Your key's got a brooch.
Yeah.
With restricted stuff, they make the brooches really create like diagonals and all this stuff, so it's harder for you to put your tools in there and everything like that.
Yeah.
So kind of depends in circumstances. Then you got your high security stuff, which they don't even use pins. It's all like fucking sliders and all these really complicated and complex, like mini, like really small, perfectly engineered stuff that good luck fucking picking it.
Yeah.
You know,
Fuck,
like,
that's so
never.
cool, bro. I'd love to learn how to pick locks.
Yeah,
That's such an interesting little fucking skill to have.
it's fun.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Have you ever used it on the outside? Like, not saying you've broken into something you shouldn't have, but
Yeah. There was 2 instances. One of them wasn't that bad. It was like my girlfriend. I needed something out of a room and I didn't have a key, so I just picked a lock.
yeah.
That's fine. But there was another instance where this isn't really that bad, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
It was like where we live. Like we live in a bunch of townhouses. That's kind of connected to, I don't know, like an apartment complex, but it has like it's like a gated apartment place, but we're right on the outside. We call it the Bronx.
Yeah.
We're part of the gated place.
In the Bronx.
But we got access to their pool, right? And it's a fob. You just badge your thing and, you know, you get in. But, of course, living with 4 blokes, like, that fucking thing went walkabout.
Yeah.
But they got the gate, right? And this just goes into electric strike. But where they were, and it's like just a normal handle, but where I don't know how to describe it, but sometimes if you think you go to a shops and on those like aluminium doors, they've got that, you know, narrow kind of lever looking thing, and it has like where you put your key, it's just an oval, like an oval shaped cylinder. Cylinder.
Yeah.
How good's that? But our one's missing that oval cylinder, right? And so what I did was like, oh well, fuck, we don't have the fob, can't get in. I'm like, oh, it doesn't have a oval cylinder in it. So I just went to my van, got a spare part, got keys, worked it, put there's a thing on the back called a cam, all different types of cams do different functions. And this function for this particular cam was retracts the latch. So I went, let's see if this works, kind of shoved it in, turned the key, opened the fucking gate, bang, into the pool.
Yeah.
So we're allowed in the pool anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
There was no need to freaking go on a walkabout to try and find this key.
no, didn't have to get the fucking key card. I just did that.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
now we don't know where the key card is, but we've kept that thing. So now we
Yeah.
just have our own little system into it, you know, which is
Yeah.
that was probably
That's
the
full
only
the Bronx, bro. No wonder you call it the Bronx. You're breaking
yeah,
in.
breaking into the gated community, mate,
Yeah.
causing
That's
a scene, mate.
That's
Yeah, that's
mad.
probably the only. I haven't really had any other purpose.
Oh, they'll
to do
come.
so.
I reckon you'll need to get into something with a padlock, chained up. You listen, I'll get in.
Fuck it. Yeah.
Go on a job site and it's like, got dates are locked. The builder's not there. He's not coming in today. Oh, well, I got the key. Don't
Oh,
worry
I've
about
done that before where I was like doing a job down at it was like at a, and it was like, oh, I don't know what it was for. But anyway, the bloke, I rang him and then I got to site because he was going to let me in. And he's like, oh, fuck, man, I'm going to be like 20 minutes. There's like, padlocks on the gate. And I was like, fuck, righto. And I thought, because I sometimes have, like if we've got a job, I'll bring the test keys. Anyway, the padlock, it didn't work with the test keys. I'm like, oh, fuck, 20 minutes, man. It's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, fuck it. Like, he knows I'm coming in anyway. I was like, oh, fuck, I'll just pick the lock. I just picked it, got in, did my shit. And old mate rocks up at the end and I'm, kind of, oh, mate, yeah, I'm finished up now. And, it was like a quote. So I was like, just this one here. Yep. I said, all right, well, I've already got all the info I need.
Yeah.
All good, mate.
That's mad.
Yeah.
That's mad, bro. That's such a mad skill.
It's heaps niche skill.
That's such a mad skill, dude. You're making me want to just watch YouTube tutorials and just fucking learn how to get into shit.
I don't know. It's kind of funny. It's like I'm walking around my own different world now when I'm just...
There's no
I
limitations.
can fucking get into that.
Yeah.
Like, if I really wanted to.
No such thing as a locked door anymore.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
That's mad, dude. Imagine I had that skill when I was like 20. I would be just breaking into everything, dude. I would have just looted places.
Yeah.
I would have robbed fucking so many shops and stores. Oh, God. It would have been a mad skill back
That's
in
why
the
you got to
day.
get your security license, get
Yeah.
your prints done, mate.
Yeah.
We
Imagine if I was
this
like-
Jake bloke, they're going, fucking hell,
Yeah.
mate, don't give him a security license.
Yeah. I might find a 17-year-old and teach him, bro, because he can't get any trouble. That's mad. Yeah, that's cool. Great responsibility, bro. Great power. Great power to be able to get into anything you want.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
weird.
That's mad. You mentioned, I obviously knew, but you mentioned on the pod so far that you were living in Dubbo before you went to Newey.
Yeah.
And you did say that you were, when you went back, you're like, fuck, I don't want to be here anymore. You're excited to leave the first time. So I'm curious as to what your mindset was like to always grow up in Dubbo and then be like, I want to get out of here. Like,
Yeah.
Why was that?
Yeah, so Dubbo. No, I think Dubbo's cool, man. Like, it's, way I put it is, and it's probably anyone could say this about their hometown, but really good place to grow up, good place to raise a family or maybe retire. But for that in-between stage, man, you got to go out and see the world. You got to, that's my biggest thing. And it wasn't like I was like, fuck Dubbo. It's just like, man, I've been here for 18 years. Like, got to do something else. Like, I need to experience life, see more stuff. And yeah, I think anyone who's grown up in like a town like that, it's probably a little bit different in cities and everything, but especially, Dubbo or anywhere around Central West and stuff, it's just good to get out for a bit, and I haven't, sorry, burp. I haven't necessarily counted Dubbo off completely. That's like, but I have no real intention to move back there, but if I did, it could hapen.
Yeah. Was it?
Oh, fucking that KFC, man, still.
Oh, no, you've been burping. I've been yawning, eh? I tried to have that coffee, but it's not helping. Was that like a known thing growing up? When you were growing up, did you notice that everyone was that a similar mindset that people kind of said, like, get out?
Bro, yeah, it was like, when you, like, for my age group especially, and probably like a year or two, around my age group, the whole thing is it's like, either go to Newcastle, Wollongong or Sydney.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're fucking 18 or 19 and you've just finished school, man, you're doing one of two things. You're having a gap year or you're not having a gap year, but you're fucking off.
Yeah.
Like, so everyone does. It's weird. Yeah, I think for Dubbo too, you just move to the coast.
Yeah.
The country's nice, but, you got to experience the beaches and shit. And, I don't know. Newcastle's a big one, man. I reckon, like, probably most kids would go to Newcastle. And I think it's, because it's like, because Newcastle's like a big country town, man. It's very similar to Dubbo, but it's like bigger and on the beach.
Yeah.
It's like, it is literally like, come and say from, like, Newcastle's New South Wales' second largest city, right?
Yeah.
But it's so much smaller in comparison to Sydney. But even then, it's the difference between Newcastle and Sydney is crazy, just with how busy it is, right? And just the people there. But yeah, I think Newcastle, because it is has that. Yeah, big country town type of vibe.
Yeah.
a lot of people are attracted to that, and also too because it's like, my older brother went there, so I'll go there. So then my mate's going there because I'm going there, and then his little brother's going there because and it's just that kind of flow-on effect. I think everyone from Dubbo probably does a stint in Newey at least once in their life, but
that's mad, dude.
but yeah,
because I remember growing up with you going to see. I think we'd probably say we see each other for every holidays. Say I reckon until probably 13, 14 from when we were kids. I think we'd do two holidays in Dubbo, 2 holidays in Sydney. You know, we'd just
it'd
take
alternate,
turns.
wouldn't it?
We'd
School
alternate.
holidays.
Yeah, so every school holidays we'd spend with each other. And I remember going to Dubbo every time and then kind of like talking about Sydney like it was a foreign place to being in Dubbo because it kind of was foreign. It's like, especially back then, Dubbo now it's almost like a city.
It is a city. It's huge. 50,000. Well, probably closer between 45,000, 50,000.
Yeah.
Big.
And I remember being younger, there wouldn't have been, to be honest, was there 20,000?
No,
like
there
10
would.
years
There's
ago?
probably around 40,000, 35.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So
It's
still
quite
a lot.
spread out. Yeah.
Still a lot. But it was so different. I remember
is.
the shopping centres were different. Like
yeah.
there was no, like say Westfields, you know what I mean? Like Parramatta,
Yeah.
Castle Hill,
Yeah.
Blacktown, Penrith. There was nothing like that. Even Mount Druitt for me as a kid was a big shopping centre.
Yeah.
And then the shopping centre when I go to Dubbo would be like the village centre that we'd have between our shopping centres.
Correct. Yeah.
And I just remember thinking it was so different. So I understand the idea. If everyone had people coming from Sydney to Dubbo, people growing up thinking like, oh, this is a smaller town. Like, did you just know it was a town growing up? Did you just know it was like a community compared to what it was like living outside of Dubbo?
Fuck yeah. Right, like as in like Dubbo being different to say, 100%, man. Like even though it is big still, the whole Central West, it's kind of, you've got say the big three, Newcastle, Sydney, Wollongong. That part of the East Coast is there. It's it's their own thing, but outside of there, it's just all the Central West towns and stuff. They're quite aware, and it's not like it's bad or anything. It's not the city.
There's no comparison in good or bad because they both have their benefits.
Yeah,
like
correct.
Sydney's not better than Dubbo at all by any means.
Yeah, it's just where you want to. It's just the lifestyle you want to live.
The lifestyle
where you
is
kind
much
of end
different
up.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, definitely. A lot of people always go to Sydney, for a holiday and stuff. So it's kind of you do realise it's different. And the biggest thing is probably as well is just the city and the beach.
Yeah.
Like when I think of like say Western Sydney and stuff, especially, it's not too much different from home because it's still like I guess part of Sydney, but each suburb's its own town. Really, isn't it?
Well,
and
we're in a town now. Windsor is actually a town.
Yeah.
It's the last town from Dubbo to come, and if you go and talking like Bathurst, Orange, freaking all these different places, Windsor's the last town, and then you have the suburbs.
Yeah.
After
Windsor.
Yeah,
Correct.
Yeah. And I noticed the difference living in Windsor compared to living in Castle Hill, Balcombe Hill, Seven Hills, freaking Northmead, all the way up to freaking the city.
Yeah.
You notice the difference. It's like you have so many people, and then they stretch out in smaller and smaller and smaller clunks until eventually you get to
the city.
the cities again, which is like Dubbo. It's another city again. So it's really not much different at all than living in Sydney.
No, it's not. Instead of, fucking the next suburb being 20 minutes down the road, it's just an hour.
Yeah. Well, our suburbs are 2 minutes. Every 2 minutes, it's another suburb.
Yeah.
Less, every minute.
Yeah.
You're in a new suburb.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. I can't imagine how many people live in Sydney alone. I think there's like 5 million or something living in Sydney, which is insane.
And it's kind of crazy too when you think about the geography of it and how Sydney, like the biggest city in New South Wales, like 5 million people. Whatever
Biggest
it
city
is.
in Australia.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Newcastle, second biggest city in New South Wales, 300,000.
Yeah.
But that might be including like the Hunter region as well, not just the actual city.
Yeah.
That's not even a percent, man.
Yeah, I know.
How crazy is
I
that?
know.
There's such a disparity between the biggest and then the second biggest. It's like fucking chalk and cheese, mate. It's completely different.
Well, and you know what's crazy? Sydney's like 12,000 square kilometers or something similar to that. I want to say. Could be wrong.
Yeah.
Could be definitely wrong with that number. But let's just say in as far as Campbelltown to Penrith,
Yeah.
right? Then you have 5 million people. America in New York has a square meterage of like 900 square meters. So it's not even a full square kilometer.
Yeah.
And there's 12 million people living inside that. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. You know what? I'm going to freaking look it up. So Sydney size, it's 12,300 square kilometers.
Right.
So it is pretty huge.
Yeah.
If I just go on images, I'd like to know how far it extends to. So the city of Sydney is pretty much from Botany Bay. Oh, that's only Sydney.
Yeah.
It's not even that big at all, bro.
Because Sydney's in of itself its own thing.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
everything
yeah.
around Sydney's
Well, I technically live
Something.
in Sydney, I guess,
Yeah.
but it's hard to know that actually.
yeah.
But let's just say city of Sydney is 12,300 square kilometers.
Yeah.
Sydney population is 5.3 million.
Right.
So 5.3 million living in 12.3 kilometers. Let's say New York size. New York. Oh, there we go. New York size. It's only 783 square kilometers as opposed to 12,000. So it's 1/15 the size. And New York population.
Yeah. Let's say 30 million, let's say.
It's actually got, from 2021, so a few years ago, 8.5 million.
Oh, fuck.
So
I'm way
8.5 million. But that's still like almost twice the population in 1/15 of the size.
the population density, man.
That's crazy.
It's
I'd
just
like-
stacked on the top of each other, aren't they? Skyscrapers and shit.
Right. I'd like to know most populated city. I'm going to look that up.
New Delhi, surely.
Tokyo
Tokyo.
has
Fuck.
14 million.
Jesus.
14 million. And let's say Tokyo size. Tokyo size is 2,000 square kilometers.
But they're a little bit smaller, aren't they? So they can fit in, can't they?
Yeah, true. They can always just walk around with 2 on each shoulder. Yeah, sweet. I couldn't imagine living in a city like that.
Yeah, fuck that.
What's the most-
I hate people as it is, man. I don't want to be fucking shoulder to shoulder with some cunt.
Yeah.
It's bad enough now, mate. And you know, you're sitting that far away from me. I'm still fucking wishing you fucking
Breathing in your
further away,
farts,
mate.
bro.
Get the fuck away from me.
So what about this place? There's a Chinese city called Chongqing.
You just
Chongqing.
made that up, cunt.
No, wait.
That's racist
I
as
said it
fuck,
wrong.
bro. You said it wrong.
I said it wrong.
I'm sure you did.
Wait, it's Chongqing. Chongqing.
Oh, Chongqing, yeah. Mate, you should have said that.
Chongqing.
Wait, what?
Chongqing.
Yeah.
All right,
Chongqing.
Chongqing. Has 32.1 million.
Fucked, fair few.
32.1 million, bro. Imagine living in that. That's
Yeah,
fucked.
China. Have you heard of like the whole, what is it, the social credit score in China?
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's fucked. I wonder what them cunts average out. Are they good? Is that the good place to be? Is that why there's so many people there? Because, yeah, bro, we got some mad credit score here, bro.
You know what's scary is the ideology of that.
I just say,
Yeah.
I love the Chinese government, man.
Communist China #1.
Yeah, number one.
Yeah.
Fuck the United States. Taiwan, you guys deserve that. Don't kill me, please.
Well, the good thing you said that because it leads me to my next point. That's that China is probably coming over because the social credit score system is just a test for China before the rest of the world adopts it. Mark my words, bro. Within 15 years, we're going to have our own social credit system.
We kind of do, man. It's just instead of an actual credit system, it's just the opinion of everyone else, you know? Like if you think of what politics you agree with or don't agree with, you know?
Yeah.
You judge by it. You know, if you don't believe in this, you're down here and it's but it is that, but on a literal
Pen and paper.
right?
Yeah.
You can it's accountable. You can see it.
Yeah,
in front
yeah.
of you.
Because everyone has their own judgment, you know, when it comes to like people being religious or coming from certain beliefs or cultural backgrounds. Like it's like I understand there's a stigma and a dogma to everything.
Yeah.
But imagine having, but it's cool because we all have our own opinion on it. It's
Yeah, we're
all
allowed to express it.
subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's subjective as opposed to a government saying
A government
this is
regulated
what you have to
system.
do.
Yeah.
And if you are caught, bro, they have security cameras. I can't even remember the number of security cameras, but
I
there's
know.
so many where it's like they walk down the street. If something falls out of someone's pocket, like a candy bar, they'll just get a bill in the mail, bro.
Yeah,
You know
they
what I
can
mean?
tell. I know. It's
like, that's madness. and that will lower their social credit score. And have you ever seen Black Mirror?
I have. I've
There's-
seen a few episodes.
There's
and
this
stuff.
one episode that was really good. It was like that. And the best thing about Black Mirror is it's all theoretical future possibilities.
Yeah.
And this one was like a social credit system that instead of a governmented or tyrannical type of control one, everyone bases it on a community kind of level.
Oh yeah, it's when they fucking give everything a score, isn't it?
Yeah,
And it follows
yeah.
the chick,
chick
where she started off really good, and then she
And then
had to
just
deal
by sheer coincidence
Yeah.
and misfortunes that she ends up
with a
with
really
a terrible fucking
Yeah,
future.
I do remember that. I think I
Yeah,
did
so everyone's
watch
just
that
walking
episode.
around. Hey, can I get a flat white, one sugar? Yes, you can. Oh, I love you. Thank you very much. You have a lovely day. You have a lovely day.
And
both
they
just
mark
go,
each other.
Ding,
Yeah,
ding. Give
yeah.
each other a 5-star rating. And then all it takes is for her to just like, I think that she dropped her coins or some bullshit. Who knows what she did? But she had to pick them all up, and it was a bit of a people waiting in line. They seen her scavenging, and they all just went,
Oh fuck.
four,
Yeah.
four. And then she just sees her score start to go down. No, please. And then,
Yeah.
oh, no, you have a lovely day. And like something weird 4. And then all of a sudden it's going down to 3, 2. By the end of it, she's
True.
fucking insane, bro.
True.
And it's
Right.
like that's a possibility for the future that we all can judge each other and give each other this social media kind of justification for where you should be in the world. But the idea of a government implementing where you can and can't travel, or where you can and can't work, or
where you can live.
where you
on-
can live,
yeah,
like
yeah.
based on your social credit score is actually fucking terrifying, to be
I know,
honest.
it's horrible. It's so like dystopic in a sense. It's just
That's a good word,
really
dystopic.
Yeah, it's a really fucking. It's like just a strange way. It's so, like 2,000 years like we're cavemen still, right? Like this is what I think about it is like if you compare say you and me to a caveman 10,000 years ago, we're the same fucking person. Like legit, we are the same person. We have the same emotions. We think the same brains. If you went back in a time machine and stole a little cave baby and raised him as like Western society, he'd be just like the rest of the kids.
That's
it's
true.
crazy, right?
Wow.
And so now we've evolved. Or technology's evolved at such a fast rate. It's kind of outperformed evolution, right? So
Yeah.
now we're a bunch of cave people. Now we have a social fucking well, not us, but they've got a social credit score rating, right?
Yeah.
Mate,
Yeah.
we're monkeys, dude.
Yeah.
And
it's
at the
like-
end of the day,
And it's like how can you base people on this social credit score when we're all the same?
I know.
You know what I mean? It's circumstantial based, it's social demographic based.
you just happen to be born fucking in the low social credit bloody fuck out the back there, mate.
Drew a riff.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
riff, mate. Your social credit score.
Yeah.
And that's
just-
where you're stuck, isn't
Yeah,
it?
bro,
But I guess you kind of, maybe that is true. It is the same with society in a sense. If you're born in a low socioeconomic kind of place, well, that's kind of, you got to fight a bit harder to get out of that,
Yeah, but I love the idea of like, and I've mentioned this on a couple podcast before, and to be honest, this might have come up 2 podcasts ago, but it's like, sorry, I'm going to go back 3 podcasts ago to a podcast I did with this girl named Taylor, and we're saying that we live in a land of opportunity, and if we have this social credit score system where you're told what you can and can't do we're always being told what we can and can't do. We live in a society full of rules. You choose to navigate through them.
Yeah.
But if it's being told not just what you can't do, but you're told what you had to do, then the idea of Barack Obama becoming president of the United States is one of my favorite stories of all time. A kid born in a lower income, not the Bronx, not fucking Compton, but
not O-block,
single,
but
single mother raising a child on welfare type of situation, low income, who decided I'm going to try and take over the United States. I want to lead the United States of America, which is such an inspirational story.
Yeah.
That's never going to happen ever again. You know what I mean? Like that's gone. That's out the window. And speaking of technology, what came up a couple episodes ago was that we personally as humans can only possibly evolve 25 years of evolution, right? That's as far as my emotions and mental state can possibly grasp. And every single individual person is only capable of evolving on their own to a life to where they're up to at that point.
Yeah.
Whereas through technology and the internet, it's a collective hive mind of 7 billion people interacting it with once, copying and learning off each other and growing this multimedia beast that is now 7 billion times more advanced that you at your own age than that thing is.
Yeah.
And you're definitely right. I never thought about it from a sense that we are actually still the same as cavemen. But do you really think that if we did take a kid from back then and raise them today, they would grow up to be like us?
100%, man.
Yeah.
Evolution takes a long time. In the scheme of things, 10,000 years in the scheme of like the Earth is probably not even a second.
Yeah.
If it's it's crazy. But that's what it is, like with, say, people like with anxiety and stuff, right? A lot of the time, what they reckon that can lead to is because we're used, like, if you're a caveman, right, it's probably good to have a bit of angst. Like, fuck, there's a saber tooth over there. Oh, fuck, I'm a bit nervous about being here, man, because fuck, there could be some saber tooth about to jump me. Now we live comfortably, but we still have that caveman brain, and so then people get anxious, right? Why am I anxious? Then you get anxious about being anxious, and it's this whole fucked up cycle.
Yeah,
So we're still cavemen. That's why, that's why there's a lot of mental health issues. Well, not the only reason why, but you think about the implementation of social media and how much pressure are put on young people. Well, not just young people, people in general. They got to meet societal standards, and there's this and that, and we get lost and convoluted and all this shit, but. It's because we're still cavemen, dude. We're not prepared for all of this stuff, We just want to pick some berries, man. Fucking spear a mammoth, dude. But now we've got this everything going on. It's, there's only so much we can really handle in a sense.
It's so true. Our emotions have gone from like the need to protect and provide from a sense where it's like my family needs to eat today. Not even. It probably goes as far back as like I want to try and keep my own survival in place.
Yeah.
That's because I'm a survivalist type of species, like humans we are.
Correct.
And I need more of me to look after me. So you create offspring and you keep them healthy and alive so they can grow up to then become part of your tribe and now years of working together in the collective.
Strength in numbers.
So it's all still self-motivated, driven obsession, you know what I mean? Even though back then it was about that. But now that has turned into we're still using those same emotions, but instead you're saving up money to put your kid through college, you know what I mean? So then your kid can have a prosperous future.
Correct, yeah.
Maybe the subconscious mind behind all that is so when you get older, your child can maybe help look after you, know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
then they turn their back, stick you in a home.
Yes.
Fuck you, Dad. You grumpy old cunt.
And it's like everything is just like it's society's versions today of what it was back then, but we're going through the same problems, same issues. You know what I mean? Like
it's the same issues, but just different. Same but different.
Yeah, same. Different.
Yeah, different. Yeah.
See not the dictator, the interview. Have you seen the interview with
is that
James Franco?
Seth Rogen, James Franco. Yeah.
And they land in Korea, and he's going same. Different.
That's a fucking great movie, that one, actually.
Yeah, that is a great movie. That's mad. I had a point I was going to get at before. What was I going to say? It was when we were talking about, evolution, and you mentioned 10,000 years is only a blip of time compared to like the age of the Earth.
Yeah.
But have you ever looked into the idea of ancient civilizations? Have you ever...
I haven't looked into it. I know there's like a lot of like speculation and theory towards it, but I haven't dove into it at least.
Yeah.
No. I'd probably attack it with a little bit of skepticism though. I don't think I'd be too convinced.
Yeah.
But
well, I would love for you to watch, and when you go back and check out our video, this podcast comes out in a few weeks. There's a link in the description called Ancient Apocalypse. It's a Netflix show by this guy called Graham Hancock.
Yeah.
Who is a renowned... It's up for debate on renowned, but if you have a brain, you would say he was renowned. People that are inside his field of education like to argue him and say that he's full of shit because he goes against what the current education system believes. But he had this theory that ancient civilizations have been advanced before. We have no evidence of them today.
Yeah, like there was there's a cataclysmic event that happened and there was nothing left of them.
Yeah. So whether it was a flood, whether it was a volcano, an asteroid, there's been stuff that has wiped out civilizations before.
Yeah, of course.
But that goes against the, what do you call BOSTES? Is that the name of the education system, especially that we have in Australia? But it goes against the education systems of the first world countries.
Right, yeah.
So they're always trying to shut him down and say, this guy's crazy, because he's also a psychedelic theorist. You know what I mean? He tries to educate people on the idea of dimethyltryptamine,
Yeah.
acid,
Yeah.
mushrooms.
What's
all
acid?
these
Is that
things.
lysergic acid diethylamide?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So he's anyway. This great man composed this TV show that Netflix picked up, Ancient Apocalypse.
Yep.
And what he does is he goes and he studies the mythologies that religions and cultures have around the world.
Yeah.
Whether
and
it's
they all link.
Yeah.
There's all. Yeah.
there's always a connection between them all of
Yes.
an ancient
Yeah.
cataclysmic event that wiped them out. So he's gone through and met up with this guy because he's a geologist. So he teamed up with this other geologist called Randall Carlson.
Right.
And what they've done is they've traveled around the world, done burial site dig ups.
Yeah.
Not only have they found archaeological masterpieces of artwork
Yeah.
showing that dated back, this is as far as these go, but they do their own studies on the pyramids and the Sphinx, and they say, based on what our evidence shows, these are way older than 10,000 years. These could go back 120,000 years.
Yeah.
And basically what they discovered in this episode or this TV series was these people had temples built on this side of the world. These people had temples on this side of the world. These people had temples on this side of the world. They all date back to a similar time period.
Yeah, it's all the Aztecs, the Egyptians, and in Southeast Asia. Cambodia.
Oh, I couldn't tell you
I
what
think
they're
it's that,
called.
but yeah, it's always the idea of the three pyramids.
Yeah. But then they also found temples. They found worship sites. They found dig ups and monuments and all these things.
Yeah.
And they all kind of lead back to 11,800 years ago. And what they theorized was there was an asteroidal impact.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that asteroidal impact, there was a cataclysmic flood
Yeah.
that wiped everyone out. Because as far back as we can all agree on, is that most of the Earth was covered in ice about 13,000 years ago. And, so what they date back was 11,800 years before Christ. So it was about 13,000 years ago, whatever it ends up being.
Yeah.
Anyway, and they said, where can we find proof of this asteroid? You know, so they found that over, I think 66% of the planet, if you dig deep enough, you'll find this type of glass that's buried within the ground. That's almost like a layer.
Yeah, right.
And that can only be created through an intense amount of pressurization
Yeah.
or an asteroid gaining enough heat as it's coming towards the Earth.
Yeah.
And it's the same asteroidal compound spread out across most of the planet, which is kind of like the theory that killed the dinosaurs, but
Yeah.
it's going back even further. And then from what this show explains is why every religion has its roots, where the story of Noah's Ark came from, where the story of the Chinese settlements, and where the story of it goes back as far as the Aboriginals and their dream states.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to know that not only did these people because they couldn't have recorded this cataclysmic event afterwards because it wiped out civilization.
Yeah.
These people writ it down before it happened.
Yeah.
So these civilizations were so smart that they were able to look up at the sky and know something's happening. Or there was even a cycle that every 15,000 years it happens again.
Yeah.
And then the thought of that is that one of the most interesting things. It talks about what's that place underwater? Atlantis, the lost city of Atlantis. The more you learn about Atlantis, the more you start to realize, oh, this isn't theoretical anymore. This is mythology. Mythology is a game of Chinese whispers that gets passed through traditions.
Yeah.
So what's the original story of Atlantis?
where did it all
And
come
then they
from?
reckon they found where Atlantis is.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's so interesting, dude. So I could not recommend you or anyone listening anything more than watching this show. Ancient Apocalypse. Fucking unbelievable. It'll change your mind
Yeah, I'll
on
have to
Ancient.
suss it out.
It'll change your mind. It can't not.
Yeah.
It can't not.
It's good raising on the point too, you're saying how a lot of with those like religious stuff, how it's very
Let me just answer that real quick. I can't remember the last thing you were saying. You were saying something to do with speaking on the point of ancient civilizations and...
Oh yeah, it was coming back to the religious thing. You were saying how a lot of different religions share similar ideas. A lot of that, like one big idea shared with like tons and tons of different religions is like the whole virgin birth thing. Like, you know, back in the day, you know, sex has been seen as like a bit of a sin or something dirty. You don't really want to talk about it, you know, and having the idea that, and even a woman who's not virgin, right? A lot of like back in the day, 2,000 years ago, mate, it's not on. Like,
Oh, really?
You know, it was looked down upon. Still is in some cultures, but the whole idea of a child being like coming from a virgin, right? This idea of purity.
Yeah,
You know, and a lot of different cultures, probably, you know, your main cultures around the world with those religions have that same idea of all the different gods, you know. So there is that argument kind of what you're saying is it all kind of boils down from somewhere, you
Yeah,
know,
of
and all
course.
these similar ideas and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, like when you look into religion, a lot of similarities. It's really,
Yeah,
like
dude,
I don't believe in religion, but I do kind of find the similarities interesting, like the theoretical kind of, like theology rather, is interesting.
Oh, 100%. It's one of my main things that I've been thinking about for like 12 months. The similarity between religions, mythologies, cultures, the fact that everything kind of doesn't necessarily mean the same thing, but you can see the blueprints behind a lot of the way the world works, even though everyone's so separated, spread out across what
we all,
8 continents or
yeah,
something.
everyone fucking hates everyone, but they all kind of have the similar ideas,
yeah,
eh?
it's
Like
all a
we
similar
might be
belief.
suspicious of people coming from over there. Hey, what you say?
I'm beeping that. Don't worry, I'll cut that.
That was a cut, going up, yeah. Nah, yeah. So what you say is, you know, we don't like those people across the pond, but fuck, when you boil it down, mate, it's kind of believing the same thing sometimes, you know.
It's crazy. To be honest, I want to go into this in deeper length. Right? But we're gonna have to save this for when we get back. Because
for real.
For everyone listening, we have already had Daniel's fight, and I'm already gonna call it out. Daniel won his MMA fight tonight, so make sure you give Daniel a little message about that. And we will be back for in your time, 10 seconds, but for us in a few hours.
Hours, yeah.
Yeah. Sweet. All right, we'll finish that soon.
Fuck yeah.
Shawty catch a vibe, yeah, I had to put her on. Bought a 2-seater, yeah, we heading for the sun. Shawty got my high, I ain't tripping for the funds. Yeah, I won't start, I ain't tripping, I'm a stunt.